He's some pig, some pig, some terrific, radiant, humble pig. He is some pig.
People, I will comment about chapter 20, which is the hour of triumph. So this chapter begins with the announcement of Wilbur's arrival on judge's stand to receive his award. So once they get Wilbur down, everybody helps, and the most excited was Avery, and Firm just saw Henry and asked her mom for money and went to him. So, meanwhile, the speaker recalled all the miracles that Wilbur previously presented to them when the written spider's web appeared. So at that moment, Wilbur felt dizzy and nervous that he fainted away. So he fell to the ground seconds before the medal was put on him and the award was presented. So everybody was concerned, and Mr. Zuckerman sent Larvae for a packet of water. So, but at that moment, Templeton, who was there and thought that he could help, so he beat Wilbur's tail, and this one stood up, and everybody cheered. So they took photos and so on. After that, Larvae inadvertently sucked Mr. Zuckerman and Larvae and Avery, and then they got in the truck and went to home. And the crowd clamored after the award ceremony and every antique.
Well, I'm going to talk about chapter 21. It is called Last Day. In this chapter, Charlotte feels peaceful because she knows that after her plan, Wilbur will have the opportunity to enjoy his life. And Wilbur feels emotional and he asks what he ever did to deserve all her help. And he also feels that he hasn't done enough for her in return. And Charlotte answers that just being her friend is more than enough. Then Wilbur mentions how wonderful will be the return to the barn altogether. But Charlotte announced that she won't go because she's going to die. And Wilbur feels painful, but he comes with the idea to get the egg sack to the barn. So he goes for Templeton's help, and at first he doesn't want to help because he says that he has always to do the dirty work, but at the end he accepts because Wilbur offers him to gives him every single meal first to him. So Templeton goes to the ceiling and get the egg sack and gives it to Wilbur. And Wilbur take it very carefully with his mouth, and as he is going to the barn, he looks up Charlotte and gives her a wink as saying goodbye. And Charlotte, with one of her last efforts, waves him with one of her legs. And this is one of her last movements, because the following day she dies, and nobody knows that that gray spider had played the most important part of all.
We choose this quote. Templeton poked his head from the straw. He noticed that the end of Wilbur's sail was within reach. Templeton grinned. "I'll tend to this," he chuckled. He took Wilbur's tail in his mouth and bit it, just as hard as he could bite. The pain revived Wilbur. In a flash, he was back on his feet. So we really like this quote, this part in which Templeton bit Wilbur's tail to revive him, because we find it something funny and something that we can also relate it to what happens sometimes. For instance, when we are focused on someone who draws a lot of attention or who we consider most important, and we leave aside those who don't draw attention. We consider that it's important to have a panoramic view to see how everyone works to make something go well. It could happen to our students. We must learn how to observe them all and not just the one who draws attention, because those one who don't draw attention can make a great difference in the group.
Well, we like this quote from chapter 21. Suddenly he had an idea. He thought of the exact and the 514 little spiders that would hatch in the spring. If Charlotte herself was unable to go home to the barn, at least he must take her children along. Well, we like this part because Wilbur has the opportunity to repay Charlotte for all her kindness and friendship, and he does her one last favor, and he sacrifices his meal, just as Charlotte sacrifices her own time and her energy in order to protect him. And now Wilbur protects her eggs for her. Well, something that we would like to remember from the book is Charlotte. We like her because she had a kind heart, and also because she proved her loyalty and fidelity to the very end. We really love the message of friendship that the book gave us.